Good evening, MennoNerds. This is Rob Martin. I normally blog at Abnormal Anabaptist, but my blog is on hiatus right now. And I would like to talk to you this evening about fear. We've been having some excellent conversation lately about things like poverty, wealth, and what we should be doing with our wealth. And I think those are excellent topics to conversate about. I think, though, at this point in time, I want to shift the kind of discussion just a little bit. Those of you who are in the know about Mennonite Church and all that kind of stuff know that the Mennonite Church USA recently had our biannual convention down in Kansas City. For some people, it was a good time. For some people, not quite so good of a time. And I would like to kind of touch on that a little bit, because in some way, this idea of fear relates along with that. I think if we want to get to the root of why things are so stressful when people get together and try to do theology, is that fear is in part in the center of our beings when we are having these discussions. Fear of death is one of the motivating factors about why people look to do things like get money, have kids, have a big house, become famous. All these things will still be around after we're gone, and it sort of gives us an immortality. Fear of change comes into play when we are trying to have discussions with people about multiple topics, because we like being comfortable in our lives. We like having things our way. Whether you are a traditionalist church person or a more progressive church person, we have this tendency to want people to change to accommodate the way we look at things. This fear makes it so that we don't want to change ourselves. We want other people to change around us so that we can ourselves be comfortable, and we are scared of the discomfort. What brings all this to mind is that this evening I was working on scraping some paint off of my front porch. This is what I spent part of my evening doing this evening. I was way up there on a ladder, scraping that roof eave up there. Let me give you a perspective. That step ladder sitting there on the porch, that is a 6-foot tall step ladder. And there's still another 5 or 6 feet above that step ladder to the roof of the porch. And another 2 to 2.5 feet from the porch to the concrete. So overall, we have a good 12 feet tall from the concrete to the eave. And I'm acrophobic. So imagine my fear as I'm working on this evening. Now, as you can see, this was a big fear for me. Being acrophobic, climbing up on a ladder like that is a very difficult proposition for me. I had to become uncomfortable in order for me to be able to get up and do the things that I need to do in order that I can proceed and progress further on in the project that I'm working on. How do we overcome our fear? It's built into us. But when fear keeps us from progressing onward and keeps us from moving forward in the things that we need to do, then fear is a bad thing. There's a verse, and I don't have it at my fingertips right at this moment as the exact reference, but it's something on the lines of, perfect love casts out all fear. If I love other people, then I'm not going to be afraid of rejection because my love is poured out to them in a sacrificial way. If I love my church, then I'm not going to be afraid that it is becoming uncomfortable for me. While I may have fear, my love will conquer that fear. As I'm contemplating my own fear and why I'm no longer up on top of that ladder this evening, for us as people of part of a church community that is facing the potential of change, what do we do with our fear? Just some thoughts to leave you with this evening.